the creative originality, where the artist has thought, as you can said, I can go to ChatGPT and I can say, hey, write me a rap songs in this style. But that style was started by some singer, right? Some rapper.
Yeah.
So that dilemma is always there. In your community, how you guys are even thinking about it?
Before, there was probably like a minority of people who could do it before, so therefore the problem was not necessarily at a vast kind of scale. I just worry about people being exploited, I suppose, because you could just imagine it would, like, technology-wise, it'd be so easy to kind of have the voice clone of your mother saying, like, hey Mohit, like, why don't you want to pay for the subscription? For the legislation would probably take like too long, whatever, to kind of do it. Maybe like too small of an area. I think that there needs to be kind of legislation to kind of help people understand where and when these things should and shouldn't be kind of used. And so there are some kind of, it feels like some clear kind of ethical issues. I think at the moment we're just seeing music as being something where, because those kind of like music generation has, although there've been some early kind of like demos to show a few kind of second clips, but now you're seeing something where it's kind of like complete, incredible sounding music being created. There are sort of obviously record labels who are kind of like concerned with where these things have been kind of trained, and sort of like there are kind of court cases kind of going on now. Again, those rules don't yet kind of exist, and they'll have to kind of be decided in some form, be there in the courts. And so we'll have to kind of wait to see where that kind of stuff ends up.
This is scary and exciting at the same point of time.
Exactly, and I think the thing was, before, there was probably like a minority of people who could do it before, so therefore the problem was not necessarily at a vast kind of scale, versus these days I kind of argue like the majority of like people would be able to kind of create something or swap something, or like ask ChatGPT to kind of do these things. And so suddenly the quality is just of a different level now. And you look at kind of like voice cloning and voice synthesis, and this is possible to be like, I couldn't distinguish the output between like, what is this real, is this not real?
Yeah. Let me introduce a little bit more controversy. And this is an article I think that you shared, and it's being circulated, bringing the memories of dead back to life.
So the basic kind of like principle is that you could tell sort of like LLMs to respond in a particular style, in a particular kind of mannerism, and I think in this kind of early days it was like, oh, you are Albert Einstein, and kind of like write in this kind of manner, and then sort of people sort of realized, actually I could potentially train these to kind of like act in maybe like my style, import my kind of like emails, messages, how I write, how I communicate, or that of a loved one. And then I would be kind of interacting with that person. What if that person had kind of passed away? And it's like someone who's just in that kind of like grief is so raw. What if I kind of said to you, Mohit, like for $1,000, I could bring them back, in the sense you could kind of interact with them. I could apply some latest computer vision techniques so that they can speak in the same voice. They could lip sync, and I could say, I'll give you for an extra $100, they can give you a good morning message each morning. An extra $200, they'll send you a birthday message. An extra $300, and it's like, people maybe like find it somewhat kind of cathartic to kind of like have some way of maybe dealing with the grief. At the same time, if I'm extorting you because of this, it feels like it's wrong. And I think this is one of these classic cases where no one imagined this would be possible, but in a sense, sci-fi's talked about it for a long time with this idea of uploading yourself. But suddenly it became real, and that there are companies offering these services. And I don't know, how do you feel about this?
No, I think it's really scary. And once you saw the article, because we have the models where we can train it for a few scenes and then it just autofills it, because that's what the promise of LLMs and these models are. They start to predict, they start to fill in the gaps based on whatever understanding they have. The first thing that came to my mind is, hey, I have like 200 videos of my mom, how she walks, what she does, and how she speaks. And why don't I upload? And then basically if I ask anything, then possibly mom would be responding into it. But then, then immediately my other side of my mind saying, is that right? Because at some point of time, there has been a closure. I grieved enough. Mom is gone. What's the point of bringing her back?
Yeah, I just worry about people being exploited, I suppose, because you could just imagine it would, like, technology-wise, it'd be so easy to kind of have the voice clone of your mother saying, like, hey Mohit, like, why don't you want to pay for the subscription for this? Do you know? And play on people's heartstrings, and it's the sort of thing where I imagine, like, the legislation would probably take, like, too long, whatever, to kind of do it, maybe like too small of an area. But I just feel that, again, it's something where AI has, right or wrong, it's kind of unlocked a capability that which we hadn't really ever considered.
No, absolutely. I think emotional exploitation is one big area where I guess, and I think that's where a lot of work that needs to happen. I don't necessarily believe in regulating the AI progress itself, but I think there has to be something that is regulating the output. So for a lot of people like you and me, I think we are excited at one side, because so much is happening, but there are a lot of people who are on the skeptical side of it. For them, this is too quick. The changes are so scary, and everyone is worried, if all the normal or routine jobs are going to go away. What's your perspective on that?